Dressed in black, without saying a word, started shooting at people in the bar in Thousand Oaks, California. It was packed with college students who were celebrating country night. At least 11 of those patrons and that veteran sheriff sergeant who rushed to the scene to help them were killed. Officers found the gunman dead as well. One of the witnesses described it.
I heard the gunshot. I turned around and I saw him shoot a couple more times. And within a split second, everyone yelled, "Get down." So I ran to the left of the dance floor where the back door is, and everyone pretty much dogpiled on top of each other.
That young girl also shared that her dad was military and that he had kind of prepared her, but she said nothing prepared her for that. The White House lowering flags to half staff out of respect for those 12 people who died. Jonathan Hunt, live in Thousand Oaks, California. Jonathan?
Harris, good afternoon to you. The gunman, according to law enforcement officials, was 28-year-old Ian David Long. We do not at this point know his motive, but right now, officials from the FBI and from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department are at his home. That is just about 3 miles from where we're standing right now. The Borderland Bar and Grill is behind us here. And that obviously is the scene of an intense investigation at this point. But officials, more importantly, are searching the home because what they want to find is a motive for why Ian David Long did this, murdering 12 people, including that sheriff sergeant and 11 innocent young people, we believe, who were simply there to dance and enjoy a Wednesday evening. Now, we do know that he served Ian David Long in Afghanistan with the U.S. Marine Corps. He spent 7.5 months there. There has been some question about his mental state. Police were called to his home in Newbury Park back in April this year for a disturbance. He was apparently screaming and throwing things around inside his house. A mental evaluation team went out, but they decided that they did not need at that point to take any further action. And then, of course, we come to 11:20 p.m. last night when Ian David Long, according to officials, dressed all in black, entered the Borderline Bar and Grill, shooting a security guard at the front door and then turning his gun on other staff and patrons inside. Many of them, as I say, were very young college students from colleges in this area. The first law enforcement official to get there after those 911 calls was Sheriff Sergeant Ron Helis. He arrived within 3 minutes. He heard the shooting. He went straight in. He came face to face with the shooter who shot him several times. Sergeant Ron Helis died from those wounds, and the sheriff here in Ventura County paid tribute to him earlier today. Listen here.
It's lost a great human being. It's part of the loss of the 11 other victims that are in there, and it's all part of the suffering that we're all going to go through as family members and parents and brothers and sisters on this tragic, senseless loss of life.
Tragic and senseless, very apt words indeed. And at the moment, the bodies of those other 11 victims, Harris, are inside the Borderline Bar and Grill, which is just a couple of 100 yards behind us now. And obviously, FBI sheriff's deputy teams going through the building now, trying to find any clues that they can, trying to decide what drove Ian David Long to do this despicable act. Harris?
Such important information that you're giving us on the mental health component in all of this. We know some states, Florida in particular, has a the Baker Law, where the initiation of a closer examination and longer period of time is instituted. I'm wondering if there's anything like that where you are, or how it all played a role that he was released and let to go. The details in that are very interesting.
Yeah, he was never actually taken away from his home at that point in April. They got a call because, according to neighbors, he was screaming, he was throwing things around. The mental evaluation team was sent out, but they evaluated him then. But there was no reason, they say, to take him into custody at that point. There was no criminal activity because he was simply shouting and destroying items in his own house. That does not in itself give police any reason to take him into custody. He's perfectly free, as anybody is, to destroy their own property if they're not deemed to be a danger to themselves or others. And this is obviously a key point in this, Harris. He was not deemed by the mental evaluation team to be a danger to himself or anybody else at that point. Harris?
So incredibly sad. And of course, he's dead along with 12 people today. We'll continue to follow the story. Jonathan Hunt, thank you very much from Thousand Oaks.